morning, Scotland. Good morning, social media land. I hope you're well. It is Tuesday, the 12th of November, 2024. Is Scotland truly thriving within the Union, or are we merely surviving under the constraints of an arrangement that no longer serves us? As a lifelong activist for Scottish independence, I can't help but question not only Westminster's policy, but the very structure of our relationship with the UK. The SNP has worked to show that Scotland can govern itself, proving our competence under devolution's limits. But how much longer can we afford to navigate Westminster's restrictions when we should be boldly pursuing independence? For years, Scotland has been politically and economically exploited in ways that would enrage any nation committed to self-determination. Westminster isn't even hiding its hold over us anymore. It legislates actively to restrict Scotland's ambitions, blocking SNP policies that could transform our society. This wasn't the approach with previous unionist administrations, who kept devolution tightly bound to avoid upsetting the apple cart. But the SNP, Scotland's only party that has truly pushed the boundaries of devolution, is restricted by the constraints placed upon it by the Union. In response, the UK government tightens its grip further, blocking progressive Scottish legislation through unprecedented vetoes. The question now isn't whether Scotland can govern itself, but whether we are willing to break free from a system built to contain us. At the core of this issue is Scotland's own natural wealth. Our natural resources and our contributions to the economy have been funnelled southwards with little regard for Scottish interests. Take North Sea oil, a resource that could have transformed Scotland's future. Westminster took charge of it without establishing a fund to secure our prosperity. Meanwhile, Norway, with a similar oil discovery, built a sovereign wealth fund that has benefited their people for generations. Scotland's oil, on the other hand, was used to prop up UK-wide spending, and Scots saw little benefit. And it doesn't stop there. Look at Scotland's attempts to push forward progressive policies directly blocked by Westminster. The Scottish Deposit Return Scheme, designed to lead on environmental innovation, was curtailed by Westminster's refusal to include glass. Or consider welfare policy. As Westminster rolled out universal credit, low-income Scots felt the burden most, creating financial strain and pushing more Scots to rely on food banks. The Scottish Government tried to counteract this with initiatives like the Scottish Child Payment, but we remain bound by a budget dictated by the Barnett formula. This is not partnership. This is restriction. It's a system that subordinates Scotland's needs to a centralised agenda with different priorities. And then there's Brexit, a vivid reminder of Scotland's place in the Union. Scots voted decisively, 62% of us, to remain in the EU, yet we were forced out due to the overall UK vote. Brexit has laid bare Scotland's vulnerability, with economic setbacks and the loss of EU funding once vital to Scottish industries. How can we ignore that? As long as we stay in the Union, Scotland's voice will always be drowned out. And beyond exploitation, Scotland's very infrastructure is becoming dependent on English control. We have incredible renewable energy, potential in wind and tidal energy, but our clean energy depends on UK transmission lines to reach the market. Transportation, our digital networks, they are all integrated into central UK systems, limiting Scotland's autonomy and how we control our own infrastructure. And next year, Grangemouth, our only oil refinery, is set to close, leaving Scotland without any facility to process its own oil and gas. From then on, our crude oil will be shipped out for processing elsewhere, forcing us to buy it back at premium. Imagine Scots' own resources going through the hands of others before benefiting our own people. It's mental. Reflecting on these realities, I feel a deep anger. The closing of Grangemouth, the dismantling of wealth-generating industries, all feels like a betrayal of Scotland's potential. It's the greatest heist of a country's wealth pulled off without a single soldier, quietly accepted by those too resigned to resist. Yet too many Scots are content to go along with this. Their dependency mentality, Westminster is more than happy to nurture, stifling our spirit for independence. But my frustration doesn't end with Westminster. The independence movement itself is divided, fractured by disunity. Our voice pulls in different directions instead of speaking as one. We need a determined, unified effort that crosses party lines, a collective focus on Scotland's future, not fleeting political gains. If we remain in the Union, Scotland's future looks bleak. A century from now, Scotland may be little more than a region of North British England, a shadow of the country we once envisioned. Our heritage, our identity reduced to a playground for the wealthy, its people and culture sidelined. This is not the Scotland I have fought for my entire life. The Scotland I envisioned is vibrant, self-sustaining, and a place where public services are fully funded and our culture shines on the global stage. It's a country accountable solely to its own people. Now is the time to act. We must unite, moving decisively forward towards independence, not only to preserve our resources, but to protect our own Scottish identity. If we don't act now, what will be left of a Scotland to fight for? How many of us see through the nonsense of disunity, the party lines that have been drawn, the flags of yellow and blue shouting at each other over Nicola and Alex? Why is that relevant? The national cause is greater than any one party, greater than any one individual political personality. If we really lack in unity that much, just fold up your saltires, put them back in the cupboard. Forget about marches, forget about rallies, forget about believing in Scotland's future, because until you get over yourselves, until we get over ourselves, nothing's going to happen, nothing's going to change. I said yesterday I'm just one voice, and I'm shouting into the wind, and I'll be detracted, put down, told off, expressed that I'm wished for INDY, all that stuff. Do you know what? Yeah. But I see the bigger picture, the bigger cause. I'm not going to place, constraints and different things that have to be done first of all before independence. Is independence first? Then we can fix everything. We have the power to do it, the resources, the money, the will, the people, the talent. But until that happens, until we move past this, we're not going to move forward. Tomorrow we will look at our history where similar things have happened at the times of Bruce and Wallace, and then when the Union was just formed. I'm no history expert, so please, when it comes to it, critique me. It's just a short story anyway. Until then, you have a great day.